National Championship Trophy is the ultimate prize. 4 weeks from tomorrow, the madness officially begins, and 68 teams will set their sights on Arizona. This year, the road to the Final Four reaches its peak in the Valley of the Sun. And when it does, a champion will be crowned on college basketball's biggest stage. Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Zucker, and welcome to the NCAA March Madness Men's Bracket Preview. With Selection Sunday just 29 days away now, it is great to be joined by my esteemed colleagues, Clark Kellogg, Jay Wright, and Seth Davis for our 8th Bracket Preview show. But the most important man in the room is next to me. We are thrilled to be joined by Charles McClelland, Southwestern Athletic Conference Commissioner and the first HBCU representative to chair the NCAA Division I's Men's Basketball Committee. Great to have you here. This is a big day for us.
Very big day, and thank you for having me here.
What has been the biggest challenge so far, watching all of these games and putting teams on paper?
You know, a lot of games, a lot of matrix, but as you get down farther in the bracket, which we do in our selection room in the show, just all of the individual teams, the parity, the comparisons that we have to do with all of the matrix. There are a lot of close teams this year, and we have to sort through all of that.
You mentioned that P word, Charles. Parity. It seems to be more of a factor every season. This year, a little bit of a statistical anomaly. We've had a lot of teams ranked in the top 10 of the AP poll lose to unranked teams on the road, and of course, those are the teams you considered in the top 16. Did it feel different in the committee room talking about those teams?
We spent a significant amount of time talking about it. Obviously, it's who you play, where you play. Losing on the road is something that we look at, but we have a lot of great teams. And again, with the parity, there are a lot of teams that have lost on the road, but there are also some very good home wins, and there's also some very good road wins.
Charles, I'm always curious about the debates that take place. You've been on the committee for 5 years now. You've seen this preparation for this show. Any difference in the level of the debate meter this year compared to past years?
Absolutely. No fist fights yet. We've had some contentious debates. Again, you know, there's a lot of matrix. There's a lot of comparisons. We watch all of these games. We watch all of the leagues. So we come in with a lot of information, and we have to sort through that. And those debates are hot and heavy sometimes. We take a break, then we come back, and we get back to them.
Well, I'd like to know a number. 1 to 10, where would the number be on the debate meter?
This year, we probably got to about a 6, but again, it's early.
Okay, all right.
Get that to 11.
February.
Get that to 11.
Hey, Charles, I was on the other side of this as a coach. We're all paranoid. We think the world's against us, especially in the NCAA tournament. But being on this side and watching your precise process is really impressive. And one of the things I think it's important you share with our fans is the real value of being the #1 overall seed.
Yeah, getting a #1 seed is significant. You get the opportunity to choose which region you go in. So that's good for the teams. That's also good for the fans. So it gives you something additional to play for, just not getting into the tournament, but being able to choose where you go.
Especially if there's another #1 seed who would want to be in that same region. And so, without any further ado, let's begin the reveal here, Charles, and starting with the #1 overall seed.
Well, the #1 overall seed is Purdue, and they're going to the Midwest. A number of quality wins, 7-0 in the top half of the first quarter.
That is impressive. I tell you what, this team has only lost 2 games. They've been consistently excellent, and the addition of Lance Jones in the backcourt and the play of Braden Smith has this team set on Phoenix, and I think they've got a great chance to get there.
This team is great, so we know who #1 is. I don't want to blow it, but I think we know who #2 is. There could be a debate, but much deserved by Purdue. And I think for all of us, we want both these teams to stay healthy because it would be incredible to watch them match up at the end of this tournament.
That sound you hear is America rolling its eyes that Purdue is the #1 overall, not in terms of your process, but can they avoid those first-round upsets, those early upsets of the last 3 years? I'm telling you, everybody, they are a much better team. The freshman guards last year are sophomores, added a 5th-year senior in Lance Jones.
Yeah.
Don't make the Big Maple mad. He takes it personally.
No, drop leaves on you. A redemption tour for them, perhaps. So the Midwest region, that would mean Detroit for Purdue, should they go that far. Let's now move to the 2nd overall seed.
The 2nd overall seed is the University of Connecticut going to the East. 13 wins in quad 1, quad 2.
Boy, I tell you what, 13 straight wins they have going into this afternoon tilt against Marquette. This is a big, balanced, ball-sharing team. 60% of their field goals made are assisted on. They very well, guys, could rinse and repeat as national champions.
And you couldn't restrain yourself. That was the team that Jay expected to be number 2. But now, who is the third number 1 seed?
Hey, Houston in the South. Different league, same results. Elite defensive team, only 3 losses on a very good schedule.
All right, very good. And, Houston is getting set to face Texas here on CBS at the top of the hour. And Bill Raftery asked Cougars head coach Kelvin Sampson about being the third number 1 seed.
The bracket preview show has you pick as the number 1 seed in the South. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a byproduct of the season we've had up to this point. But there's a lot of season left. And the more important thing to me right now is how we play this afternoon against Texas.
Long way to go.
Long way to go. I mean, they have those shows. It's great interest. March Madness is a phenomenon into itself, so they have those kind of brackets. A lot of eyeballs on it this time of year, and proud of our team up to this point. Great group of kids, and look forward to the game today.
Still a sense of accomplishment, I'm sure.
Yeah, but coaching in the Big 12 keeps you humble and grounded. Mm-hmm. There's no room or time for celebration, anything. Even when you win a game, your mind just goes right to the next game, because in this league, there's a lot of booby traps and trap doors.
That is classic compartmentalizing by a coach right there.
For sure.
Because right now, going into this game, the last thing he's thinking about is being the third number 1 seed. But he's thinking about Max Asmus and how they stop Dylan DeSue, because those 2 pick and roll are incredible.
Yeah.
But someone might even have to remind Kelvin after the game, hey, by the way, you're the third number 1 seed. Congratulations, buddy, because he is focused on this game.
No doubt. We'll see if it goes to overtime, like their first meeting did as well. And so they would go to Dallas in the South region, by the way. And so now, for our 4th 1 seed, joining Purdue, UConn, and Houston, our final number 1 seed, going to the West, Charles.
Arizona goes to the West, top 5 in every one of the matrix that we looked at.
Well, I know Arizona fans don't forget this, but because of Purdue's pratfall last year in the NCAA Tournament, some people may forget that Arizona also got upset early by Princeton as a 2 seed going out early. But let me tell you something. Tommy Lloyd has learned from that experience. He brought in 2 transfers, Caleb Love from North Carolina, Keyshawn Johnson from San Diego State, 2 guys who have played in a Final Four. They may play in a Final Four again.
Charles, I think Arizona's deserving. I have to admit, I was thinking a little Marquette, a little Tennessee, a little Carolina. How close were they with this 4th spot? Did they sneak in, or was everybody on board?
Didn't sneak in at all. For the first time in the history of our committee, 1, 2, 3, 4 was chosen by all 12 members in that exact order.
Wow.
Arizona firmly on the 4th seed.
Wow. And these 4 1 seeds would be geographically very happy, by the way, with their eventual locations. Of course, lots of basketball still to be played over the next month here, Charles. But looking back at last year's bracket reveal, and all 4 teams, they went on to stay as 1 seeds. The only changes to the seeding were Kansas jumping to 3rd overall and Purdue falling to 4th. Might there be some more movement this year, you think, as you look at what happened last year?
Our history overall from this top 16 reveal, 80% of the teams that are in make the tournament. We do know that there's going to be some movement. These teams have some very difficult games coming up. We'll be watching. I don't anticipate a whole lot of movement, but we'll have to wait and see. A long season still yet to be played.
Sure is about a month left to go, and still 12 more teams to reveal here. But now some sad news to pass along. Legendary Maryland coach Lefty Driesell.
See what's on the board? Execute. By Smith. So good. Edie slams it down. And Purdue just keeps on coming. Big bucket for Purdue. No way of closing the door. The Boilermakers in a dominant performance.
Looking to keep that going as we welcome you back. And before we continue the reveal with Charles McClellan, the chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, let's recap the top 4 seeds we have. Purdue sits number 1 overall. The Boilermakers haven't been to a Final Four since 1980. The reigning national champs are the 2nd overall seed. UConn is joined on the top line by Houston and Arizona. So moving on now, Charles, take us through all of the 2 seeds here.
At number 5, we have North Carolina going to the east. Number 6, Tennessee to the Midwest. Number 7, Marquette to the south. and number 8, Kansas, to the west with wins over Houston, UConn, and Tennessee.
So we're doing this show
Solid
at 12:30.
2
If we did it at like 6, if Marquette wins at UConn today, I think they would vault ahead of Arizona. And I'll make this prediction that Arizona will not be a 1 seed on Selection Sunday. They have 0 Quad 1 games remaining on the regular season schedule. Marquette's got 4, Tennessee 4. To me, they're like racehorses kind of getting on that inside rail, seeing the dash to the finish line. I think one of those two is going to jump.
You certainly aren't shy about your prediction. Right in character, partner. For me, I'm looking at this North Carolina team because I think defensively and in terms of the experience they added with Ryan and Ingram, I really think they've got a chance to be really dangerous. R.J. Davis is having a phenomenal year, and Armando Bacot, one of the best double-double guys in the country.
And I look at this, and I like Tennessee, and I'm thinking this is a little bit of an eye test by the committee, Charles, because they could be a Final Four team. They're rated high here, but Marquette has 6 road wins and 6 Quad 1 wins. I thought they might have been a little bit higher, but I feel you on Tennessee because I think they're a possible Final Four team.
Yeah. Tennessee is definitely strong, and we will continue to look at them as we go through this process.
Yeah, long way to go. And we continue now with the number 3 seeds, Charles. So now we're going 9 through 12.
So at number 9, we have Alabama going to the south. Number 10, Baylor going to the Midwest. 11, Iowa State in the east. And number 12, Duke going to the west.
When I take a look at these two teams, Bama and Baylor, they are 3-point centric shooting teams with dynamic guards. Those 2 ingredients, Jay, you know, can be certainly helpful when you're trying to make a tournament run. Guys that can make threes. They make 21 threes between these teams and attempt the 52 a game and shoot right under 40%. So dangerous groups, both of those teams.
So you see Duke not only on the 3 line, but the 12th overall. So they're the last number 3, but North Carolina there as the 5th overall. Of course, those two will play each other again in Cameron, possibly get in the ACC tournament. Bragging rights are great, but what they really want is to be in the East. So if Duke wants to get to the East, they're going to have to get there through Chapel Hill.
And you guys mentioned the teams that we all know, Duke, Alabama, the power of these teams, Baylor. But I'm telling you, I've seen Iowa State live.
Yeah.
Taylor Lipsey, their point guard, is a winner. He's tough. He's physical. They're the 3rd best defensive team in the country. They've won big games on the road. This is a really dangerous 3 seed.
Yes, I agree with you, Jay.
Make a run.
Yeah.
They've got multiple guys that can score on this team.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Taylor Lipsey, but they can score it as well as defend.
Yeah, Keyshawn Gilbert can get it done.
Oh, he can get it going.
Yeah, they've got that's a good group.
Yeah, those are all teams worth putting some trust in about a month. And we still have some work to do here. We'll put the finishing touches on this Sweet 16 as we move closer to the madness and another road to the Final Four paved with unforgettable moments. Might come true again. A magical night for UConn and Clutch City. And as we just learned, the Huskies, as of today, would seek to become the first team to repeat as national champion since Florida in 2007. They're the 1 seed in the projected East region. Purdue is the number 1 seed overall, with Houston and Arizona also earning spots on the top line. We now round out the top 16 here, Charles. So how about the 4 seeds?
At number 13, we have Auburn going to the west. At number 14, San Diego State to the Midwest. Number 15 is Illinois in the South. And rounding out the top 16 is Wisconsin in the East.
And there's all these protocols you have to follow. So I'm seeing Illinois and Wisconsin could not be in the Midwest region with Purdue because they're fellow top 4 seeds from the same conference.
Absolutely. So we have principles and procedures that won't allow those matchups that early. So we have to adjust the bracket to be able to follow our principles and procedures.
Charles, well done, my friend. I was with you all the way until San Diego State. I had Dayton instead of San Diego State, who I think deserves it. But San Diego State's big win against New Mexico's puts them here probably. Are there any other teams? Was Dayton close? And are there any teams like that were close?
Dayton was absolutely close. Great conversation about Dayton, as well as Creighton and Clemson. Not in that particular order, but all 3 of those teams right there on that 16 seed line fighting for it.
Yeah. Hey, you've been on the committee for 5 years. It's a wonderful privilege to serve in that capacity. Do you give yourself a chance to enjoy it when the responsibility is so great to enjoy it and have fun with.
You know, Clark, I try. You know, I grew up in Mississippi. Never would I thought I'd be sitting here in New York City with you guys doing this. You know, my family keeps me humble, but also I know that I represent my conference, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So I try to take time out and reflect, but I also understand the weight and the gravity of this position, and I want to make sure that we do the right thing for all of these teams and the entire association.
Well, hopefully you've had fun here today, I hope.
Absolutely.
So I always think it's so helpful that we're not only showing everyone what seed line they're at, but the overall seed, because I know that after the 4 line, you total all those numbers to make sure there's competitive balance. When you guys got to that point, did you make any changes?
Yeah, we had to flip Wisconsin because of competitive balance. So when you look at our bracket, we want to make sure that each region has a fair level of competitiveness. So we have a principle, and it falls between 5 and 6 of those points. So we had to make some moves to ensure that there is competitive balance in each.
And so Wisconsin was where in the West? Was it Auburn we switched, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Had some switching. You have to make changes. You have to adjust. Crazy 5 years for you since you joined this committee as a whole, right? Compared with where it started, 2020, no tournament, 2021, the bubble of Indianapolis.
That is correct. My first year, I was here in New York, and one of my first votes was to cancel the tournament, and then we were in the bubble. I made the joke, if they ever make a movie, I want to play myself.
You got the part, and we appreciate you being with us.
Yes, indeed. Well done.
And the snow's over. You can get back to Birmingham and then on to Indianapolis, and we'll see you in just 4 weeks, Charles.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we look forward to seeing how it all comes together. Of course, Selection Sunday, the field of 68 teams for this year's men's NCAA tournament will be announced right here on CBS at 6 Eastern. And after a quick timeout, we'll get you set for Texas and third.